Like you said, I'm Alex Tanguay, and this is my colleague Manuel Ruiz. We're with XL Construction. XL Construction is a Bay Area-based general contractor out of the Bay Area. We have our main office in Milpitas. We also have offices in San Francisco and Sacramento. We specialize in the markets of healthcare, oshpod work, biopharmaceutical, advanced technology, and education for core markets. And for the project we're about to talk about today is a project in which we had to relocate 2,200, that's 2,200 microprocessing tools in an active microprocessing facility. That means that we had to go find the tool, figure out what's on it, work with design assist contractors for electrical, process piping, and mechanical to build it correctly in the new facility, have it all fit up seamlessly, and move it without a problem. We had a lot of challenges on this project, as you can imagine. We weren't given cut sheets. We were told that we're supposed to get a cut sheet to go find out what's going on. So I'm sure, as you can tell, it was added quite a bit of challenge. Another challenge we had is a constantly changing design, because we all know the clients always just give it to you the way you want the first time, and that's the way it stays. No. So we had a design constantly in flux. We also had tools coming from all over the world. The owner would decide that they wanted this tool from Japan and this tool from their facility in France. And so we were constantly moving tools from what type of tool we're putting in this location. Walls are starting to go up, a lot of stuff to keep track of in a very short time to keep track of it. Also, time is money. Any time that they're not operating is money that they're losing, and that also factored into liquidated damages in the contract, so we definitely had a lot of incentive to keep them going as best as we possibly could. So initially, we went out and surveyed the information and put it all in an Excel spreadsheet. The Excel spreadsheet was pretty basic, as Manny's showing you up here. It's there, you can get the information, but it doesn't relate to the drawings in any way. It's visually confusing, it's just got data filters, no conditional formatting. It's not a good way to send information out to your team. This has also had no security controls on it, so this is getting distributed all over the place. I can't tell you how many sleepless hours I spent sorting this out. The team came to virtual design to find a better way, and so that's what we did. So we created a studio, much like Matt did for some of his projects. We also created custom markup columns in a studio and custom tool tags that we have in a resource folder. So, like Ruben was saying, just like his teams, we can get it up and running really quick. Anyone can just come out of these folders. So for every column down below, we have a tool tag assigned to every tool on the layout drawing, and that has everything you'd ever want to know about that tool. What utilities are required? Does it need helium? Does it need argon? Does it need processed cooling water? What kind of voltage does it have? Is it grounded? Does it have any special requirements? Maybe someone was walking through a lab and talked to an end user, which is another challenge to the project, by the way. We're doing all this in an active clean room environment. We have, as Manny will show you some of these pictures here, we have vent hoods, we have lasers, we have acid baths, all kinds of corrosive chemicals. Just, it was mind-blowing when I first saw it. I gotta be honest with you, I've never seen anything like that. So, as you can see, we can document everything you would ever want to know about this tool, including the pictures, which is an extremely valuable resource in a meeting. Instead of tabling a discussion, we have eyes in the field with this. We can see in real time what's going on out there. Every single tool, maybe you have a one-off desk or something, but for all intents and purposes, every tool has a capture associated. So you can see this pump here, you can see these electronic racks over here on the side, you can see this arc cluster tool, which we used a CAD export to do a custom tool tag there, so if we need a higher level of detail, we can get it. A lot of stuff going on. So you can see we also were able to dimension the drawings. We also, these custom tool tags here, you can see those yellow dots are custom utility tags that we can place either in the field, like you'll see in a minute, or in the office. This was extremely valuable to sit down with the subcontractor's foreman, the design assist engineer, and myself, the general contractor, and all three of us had a different interpretation of what things were. And through using these documents, we were able to concisely and quickly ascertain what needed to be built and get our plans in time for plan check. You put 10 guys in a room at $100 an hour, that's $1,000 an hour, so minimizing this meeting time is extremely valuable to us. So you might be wondering how we get from this Excel spreadsheet that's mundane and basic to this, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So let's go out to the field and check it out. Oh yeah, I'm not going to read you that boring slide because that's just way too painful. welcome everyone in the field. We're now in a clean room, as you can tell. Should be suited up, but you can't see it, so just pretend. So we have the okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm checking out the tool, and hopefully it's going on behind me in a second here. So I'm checking it out. See. It's like the technical difficulties are getting the better of Manny, but so here's my tool. I've got a 1/4 inch ultra pure water on it. I've got this 1/4 inch process cooling water. I've got a ground. I've got this. I can check my tool out. I've imported my markups, and I can add my tool tag. Right there like that. And I can survey the tool. I can measure it. If I don't take off my mic. You know, see what's going on. So let's say this here is it's about 41 inches, so I'll put in the description that it's 41 inches here. So width, I select my tool. Okay. Or is that yours? Oh, well, are you on airplane? I think we're on airplane. Oh, we're not on airplane. Hold on a second. Why doesn't anything ever go perfect in these things? Alright, well, airplane's being glitchy, so you just have to take my word for it. So I can input all the information out here in the field. I can, in my markup column, I'll just bang through here. So maybe we have a voltage on this tool. So 120 volts. 120 volts up, not 1120, hold on a second. 120. I'm going to put that down there. And then maybe I'm going to go to my markups tools and I'm going to select my tool. Get a capture of the tool here so I can get that this has a process cool up ultra pure water. Use the photo. Hey, you guys can see right. Oh, we've got this process cooling water here. And see, it's shadowy. This is great. We're simulating the lab and strange lighting conditions. And there's a scientist next to me doing something and all kinds of stuff like that. So then we get this 120 volt there that I documented, and then, you know, maybe, oh, you know, there's something on the back and I'm having a hard time. What I really love about the iPad is if you need to reach up high or something, you can just flip around and reverse it and get a picture of that. And then, you know, those hard to reach places, you can use the versatility of the iPad to document some of that. And I promised everyone back home that I get a picture of you guys. So on the count of 3, what I want you guys to do is 1, 2, 3. I want you all to put your hands in the air and shout Bluebeamers. All right, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bluebeamers! Oh, I get this side. I'll make you do it again. So, all right. So then I write down all the information in the columns, and for the sake of time, you can just take my word for it that I filled all these in. I can check into drawing here. Now I'm going to save my changes. Yeah, the picture quality is probably not going to be the greatest because I was going kind of fast, but I check in, always put some check-in comments. It's always a good practice. It's what we have at Excel Construction. You wait for it to think a little bit, and then maybe it's going to sync his studio, and those pictures are going to pop up there if this thing cooperates with it. And I got to say, while I'm at it, I got to really give a big shout out to all the people, the tech support at Bluebeam. They were priceless in helping us get through a couple issues as we prepared for this presentation. So my hard hat is off to them. This guy's thinking, so while that's talking, I'm thinking maybe I'll just talk about, put my hat back on, Omar. All right, well, on that note, you know, you can see we have a lot of other functionality in here that we can gather in real world time when your Wi-Fi network is connecting, and that's a really great point to highlight is that Awesome Internet is strongly advised for doing this. The studio is a wonderful tool. It's a great collaboration resource. We can give a field guy an iPad. He's got his email. Our software is Procore. We have Procore on there. And we have the studio. We use our sets to get current drawings. We peel off a current set using the published set. Everything is hyperlinked. All the information is on the drawings. Everything has a layer. Each one of the tool tag symbols I put down, I can do from the iPad, or I can do from the studio. So in real time, the field can be communicating back to the office. As you can see, there's some progress to be made, but it's really a phenomenal application that's really been extremely advantageous for Excel construction, and we really like it a lot. Another thing we've done, speaking of the design constantly in flux, is use the dimension tool, all these dimensions. So we found dimensional busts in these clean rooms. We're moving from 60-foot of clean room to 40-foot of clean room, so every inch counts. If you've got a 4-inch bust in 3 tools, that's a foot, and that can blow your design right there. So, we can have our architects logged in, we can have our design assist partners logged in, we can use it for quality control. It's just been extremely versatile in helping us out. We can also filter the information down here using the data filters. So if I want to filter something, say, for 120 volt, there's voltage there. So, bottom. There you go. And see, everything lights up. It's kind of hard with these colors. There you can see each one of these items has 120 volts. So your superintendent might say, hey, what about this upper corner here? How come that doesn't have 120 volt? And that can help cue us in on issues we're having. Or if you show process cooling water, you can filter for what has a 3/4 inch process cooling water there. So we can, you might have to clear the filter because it's already, there you go, yeah, clear the filter and then do that. So, and then the best part about this is we're using it to track our tools. We can set statuses on the tools, and the tool changes color based on the status, and it tells who did it and when they did it. So we know what tools are at the existing facility, what tools are at the new facility, and the superintendent doesn't have to bug the project engineer in the middle of doing that expensive change order and say, hey, when is this tool getting here? All he has to do is open his drawings. All the information lives on the drawings. It's relatable, not like that old clunky spreadsheet where you're just buried in a spreadsheet. With this, we're in the drawings all the time. All the information is there. All the trades are there collaborating. It's a phenomenal tool, and I think everyone in this room can stand to benefit from it the way Excel has. So, thanks for your time. I'm sorry the demo didn't go as well as I hoped, but I think y'all get the idea.
Okay, well that wraps up the presentation portion. We want to start. We've got a good 15 minutes or so for Q&A. Anybody that's got any questions, like I said, the microphone's right here in the middle aisle here. Let's go ahead and just get a line formed, and we'll just start chipping away. See if these folks maybe heading up there, maybe heading to the restroom. Okay, there's one. Go ahead, sir.
I noticed in presentations 1 and 3, no one mentioned BIM or 3D modeling. Could that help with both of those projects?
We integrate BIM into all of our projects. Just the content of that specific process is not something that I talked about, how we would integrate Revit or how we would integrate Rhino models. But we do model on specifically our signature structures, pretty much every piece of rebar, every chunk of concrete, every elevation, and all of the things that are going in with the existing finished grading. So that is a big part of it, just not part of my initial workflow process. That sounds better.
Yeah, so for mine, actually one of those custom tool tags was an export from CAD, and this project didn't have BIM on it, so that's why it wasn't mentioned in my aspect of this presentation. I gotta say, we really could have stood to benefit from a laser scan model coordination on this job. We had a lot of tight utilities and a lot of tight space. You know, honestly, the studio, I wouldn't say anything's a substitute for 3D model coordination, but it definitely enhanced our ability to, even though we didn't have BIM, it was definitely a leg up in the process.
My question for the third presentation, you utilized a lot of the capture features and you had a huge markup summary there of all the custom columns. Did you notice that that infected your documents with all the data you had in there, and did that lag?
Absolutely. These documents get really big and really heavy really fast, so that's something we're looking forward to coming down the line is a little more functionality with that, and that's also my comment about the internet helps with some of that as it's trying to load these big heavy documents. You can get around that with preloading, and we did end up creating a second studio for our field with only the documents and what we needed to capture from the field into our document roll, and then what we call the main studio. But yeah, we definitely experienced that and are looking forward to the solution.
I'm going to tag on to that too. Because I had over 76 pictures, just similar to you did, on one of my floors of the punch list, and the file was massive. So to get around that going forward, you can set up, when you do photo capture, you can have preset options that what resolution, quality the pictures are going to be. I always recommend now, because in my opinion, you don't need the max resolution on these photos. If you do, you go look them up elsewhere in your storage platform. But as far as the sake of I always set mine to low. So when I'm adding 76 pictures, you just reduce 3/4 of that file size. That helps a lot.
Can I tag on to your tag on?
And
Yeah, so I totally agree with what Matt's saying. I would say that when we're trying to use it for eyes into the field, I set my resolution higher because sometimes we need to look a little closer at what's going on with an anchorage, or a lot of times I'll take a picture of a back of a utility plate that'll have the manufacturer information. Since I didn't have cut sheets, sometimes I want to know who made the tool so I can call them up. And for some of those, sometimes you need a higher resolution to actually capture it, or your superintendent will get really frustrated.
Go ahead.
My question's for Matt. You said you had subcontractors in there updating statuses.
Yep.
How do you keep them from saying continuing to set up for GC review? Or how do you deal with that issue once they do it?
Just had it. Honestly, I haven't run into that yet. I've run into them saying pending GC review when they haven't done anything. But as far as no offense. No, but technically there's not a permission that I'm aware of that there's not, right? You can't. So right now that's open. Once they're in that studio session, they have the same functionality that I do. So I'm in it more than anybody else is because I'm the one managing it, or whatever person from the GC is. So you know when somebody's messing with you usually.
This is pretty much for anybody up there. Have you seen, or is it possible to possibly do punch lists on 3D PDFs?
I've never tried that.
The work I've done with PDFs is anytime I have a Revit model, I'll export those to PDF just because I love 3D PDF and just want to dig into it, learn more about it, but I've never used it in depth for any functionality yet. But
Okay, thanks.
Hi.
So I work for a general, and at the end, when the supers are working up their red lines for an as-built, we still at times have to print them out for an owner or an architect, and Bluebeam does not like to print on a kit, or what's an option for that?
Doesn't like to print?
So
Have we looked into this?
I feel like that's a question for a Bluebeam guy. I don't know if that's a question.
I could throw something out there. I mean, because along the lines of, because I turn over the punch list at the end and I give the owner a copy. So we have records of all of that. When you close, that's why another reason I didn't mention of using a studio session. When you close that studio session, you can give the option to print a report. And that report tracks every single item that happened on what date. So you have all your history there. As far as printing it out, I always try to push electronic documents to turn over at the end. But
It'd be
it's,
amazing,
yeah.
except for that closeout process,
yeah.
like that hard copy on the site.
There are some, I think actually offline, if you want to come talk to one of the technical folks around here. My guess is that has something to do with the printing drivers that you're using, and it's probably not super relevant to this group, but I think we probably can help you out a little bit, point you in the right direction. Anybody else want to hop up to the mic?
I want to throw one more thing out there. I just found out about this yesterday. I'm pretty excited about it. So, studio sessions, you're only as effective also as your internet capabilities on site, which is difficult because it depends on your job, but you might not have Wi-Fi. So when you're going through a punch list and it's a long job, Wi-Fi's not there, what do? Now you can't do it. Now you're long story short, Studio Offline is coming out, or is out? It is out. Okay, so that's going to solve, in my opinion, the biggest frustrations that I've had using Studio Online without an internet connection. So somebody's gonna be able to do all their markups. When they come back to an internet connection, it's gonna automatically be pushed up.
Yep, true. It's out now, so.
Okay, well, I guess since we've finished up with the questions part, let's give these guys another big round of applause. And then just as a reminder, again, if you want to get the AIA CES credits, make sure you get your badge scanned if you didn't on the way in. And up next in about 35 minutes, we've got the Bluebeam Skills Challenge, which is going to be a ton of fun. That's back in the Grand Ballroom at 5:30, so join us. Open bar, a lot of fun, games. Thanks again.